This guy who's 22 writes, upset over a girl again. Hello, so it started out very nice and cool. She seemed like a nice girl, flirting, trying to meet up, texting nonstop. She was complimenting me, had similar interests, was very pretty, can hold a conversation, seems super interested. Great. So how do you talk her out of it? However, out of nowhere, okay, sure. Her dynamic completely changed. It says like, were you pursuing her? You mentioned like the nonstop texting. It's like, were you initiating a lot of that conversation? Were you dragging conversations along? Oftentimes, it's like if you text too much, a lot of times, especially in those beginning stages, her attraction towards you will stop. It won't be as exciting to really get together with you. So just be careful on doing that. She went from saying she's interested to hardly messaging and blunt replies. So like one word answers. And also what's that? What does that imply? Well, it implies that you're the one initiating the conversation. And so she's replying to you. So you're probably not getting to the point, not setting dates. Instead, you're trying to basically think that texting her will raise her attraction. Not the case. She's now saying she's going through a lot with family and thought she wanted to start speaking to someone, but doesn't want it to be me. I'd say that's pretty blunt, yeah. Well, there's your problem though. She's telling you her problem. She's saying it's the speaking thing. It's like you talking to her all this time. It's like if you just basically set dates and then talk to her maybe like 3 texts when she reaches out to you, and then end it saying, hey, I can't wait to talk about this further, or I'd love to give you, more of like, I'd love to kind of go more in depth with this in person instead of over text. It's like, I can't wait to see you Saturday after you've already set a definite date, and you end the conversation like that. That way it's not like you have this huge run on long conversation that just makes, really eliminates the excitement, eliminates the anticipation to seeing each other. And when you basically don't give her that space, relationships have a lot to do with managing that closeness when you see each other, and then also the distance. And if you eliminate the distance, it's really an essential part that you are eliminating. So let's continue on. She's like, I'm going through this stuff. I asked if there's anything I can do to help. Dude, well, what's she doing? It's like, is she really having difficulty? Maybe. But bottom line is, like, if she was going through something difficult, she'd probably, if she had a high connection to you, high attraction towards you, she'd probably want you there or want you to be with her, but she doesn't. And so it's like, understand that, yeah, maybe she has this other stuff going on, but ultimately she's not attracted to you. So you have to basically back off because she's backing off. Instead of basically pursuing and saying, oh, what can I do? Let me just chase you. Let me find out whatever I can do to kind of make this up to you kind of approach. Rarely does that ever work because you're trying to prove yourself to her. I can tell because I get left undelivered, but looks like my snap short. But she looks at my snap stories. So she's not even responding to him when he's doing this. And I don't blame her. It's not her fault. Yeah, but ultimately she's not choosing you. So it's like, well, whether that's whoever's fault it is, I don't think you want to go in that mindset. But it's like, regardless, it's like she's just not attracted, so you back off. How can I stop getting attached or too invested? Well, eliminate all this unnecessary texting you're doing. That'll save you so much. And that's probably the biggest thing that you're doing that's kind of turning her off. It's just getting boring. And it's not about like when you're chasing that it's like it's going to turn her off immediately because of the chasing. Oftentimes what you find is that it gets boring, or she tests you, and then it's just like she feels like, well, okay, what if I backed off? Sometimes women use that as a test, or just when things do get boring, it's like, well, she'll see what you'll do, see your reaction. And when guys get in trouble is that they pursue when she backs off. And that's the biggest thing. And right now, that's exactly what he's doing. So, to eliminate that, when you initiate conversations going forward on a next woman you're with, It's like initiate with an outcome. Don't initiate like, hey, what are you doing? Kind of thinking you have to get to know her over texting. No, set definite dates. Once you get those definite dates, then just show up and have fun in person when it really counts to show up. So that's what I'd say with that. And then after about 3 weeks or a month, you'll notice that she starts to reach out to you. And then it becomes a more healthy dynamic. Because when she's reaching out to you, it's like she's the one chasing, which is more of a feminine quality. And I believe that this is the case, why it's healthier for her to really reach out to you much more. One, because it's like she naturally does focus on like the connection, just with femininity, and also women talk about 4 times as much per men. But probably the biggest one is that sometimes women are really self-critical, and when they're compared to guys who are sometimes like overly optimistic on how good they're doing. And so it's like when a guy reaches out to her, sometimes she is overly critical on his approach or just what he says, compared to all she has to say is like, hey, what's up? Or, hey, I was thinking about you. Or just some random thing. Hey, I was watching a movie and I thought about you. Something that basically is very, very minimal effort. And he'll interpret that as like, man, that's the best thing ever. And if he says something like that, she's going to be like, this guy puts no effort in, and she totally criticizes him. And so she basically distances herself, and then he thinks he has to pursue more. So that's just kind of my experience as far as the success with reaching out to women compared to them reaching out to you. It really is a big deal. So I'll leave it at that. You get the fundamentals for free, psychology behind really why attraction works, and then all my other products that are more specific in the description below.